This was in 2021 when my mom left my dad, and she took 5 of us. And my older sister lived on the other side of town. My mom had to go to the store for snacks because she was going to work late the next day. My siblings wanted to go, but I didn't want to. Just wanted to watch TV. We just moved into our new apartment, so my mom did not have her computer out to play games. My mom never lets me stay home alone, but that day she let me, so they soon left, leaving me alone. I was around 9:18, and I was just chilling, watching TV. We did have 2 dogs and a cat, but they were still with my dad. We needed permission to have them. I was just chilling, watching Full House, when all of a sudden, I heard a creak upstairs. The floors make a sound when the weight of a human walks on it. I was scared, but not scared at the same time. But I brushed it off, thinking that it was the neighbors next door. We sometimes easily hear, okay? I kept watching. Just like 15 seconds later, I heard it again, but it was in my older brother's room. Okay, this time, I actually got goosebumps, so I grabbed the biggest knife we had and tried to head upstairs, but something told me not to, so I somehow didn't. A few minutes later, they came back. I told my mom about it, but she told it was just my imagination. Of course, as a little kid, my little sister believed me. She decided to check upstairs. She was more braver than me, even though she was only 8. Damn. I am a P asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. She checked, but she found nothing. I checked my older brother's room. I found a bag of chips, but we swear on our mother that we don't eat upstairs. A few months passed. I was walking home from my dancing club, and I saw there was a break-in, and it was near my apartment. I'm now 13, and this happened when I was 11, and I still remember it. When I bought my current house, the one I'm living in now, my next-door neighbors knocked on the door right away and introduced themselves. They were both as kind as could be on both sides. My house is waterfront, sitting on a canal. I wanted a waterfront house because I have a boat, so it was a no-brainer to have the convenience of keeping it docked in my backyard. A house on a canal, though, means sacrificing privacy in the backyard, since the house directly across the canal looks right into my yard. It's from the start. Even when I first went to view this house, I wasn't the biggest fan of the house across the canal. It just looked neglected, like it hadn't been taken care of in a while. It was kind of an eyesore whenever I sat outside. For almost 2 weeks after moving in, I'd look out my window before bed every night, always seeing the house across the canal completely dark, pitch black. I started to wonder if maybe it was just a second home for someone who rarely used it. But then one night, things changed. That same day, my brother helped me launch my boat into the water and bring it to my dock. Just as I was about to shut the blinds in my bedroom, I glanced across the canal again. Tonight, one light was on. In that lit-up room, what looked like a living room by the back door, stood a man. He was just standing there, looking outside. So, someone did live there after all. From what I could make out, he was wearing sweatpants and a long-sleeve shirt. He had a full head of grayish hair. From that distance, he looked like he could be 50 on the dot. It seemed like he might have been looking at my windows, but realistically, was probably just staring out into his backyard, though it was pitch black out there. I closed my windows and went about my night. The next day after work, I got home, set my stuff on the kitchen table, and went outside to plant some grass seed in the yard. That's when I noticed him again, standing at his back door. This time, I knew for sure he was watching me. We made extended eye contact, and then I quickly looked away. I didn't want to wave. That would be weird. I just pretended I didn't notice him still standing there, staring at me. It was like I was doing something wrong just by being in my own backyard. One day, I had some friends over to take the boat out. We were both leaving and coming back. I didn't see the man at his door. By now, I had only seen him twice, but already I was paranoid every time I went outside. So my eyes always checked that back door across the canal. A few nights later, I looked out my bedroom window again, and he was there, again, just standing. staring. I wondered how long he would just stand there. It was so bizarre. I turned off my lamp and stood just beside the window, peeking out to see if he'd keep standing there even after my light went out. He did. I must have stood there watching for 3 minutes. He didn't move. I shut my blinds. From here on out, I told myself, just ignore it. Keep the blinds shut past sunset. Spam. I went to bed wondering how I should handle this situation, or if I even should. Maybe I should just go out to the dock and wave, just try to talk to him. Or maybe even go knock on his door and introduce myself. But that all sounded stressful. That same night, as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard something in my backyard. Someone was on my deck. Walking around, I could hear it. I sat up. I went to the window to get a look, but I couldn't see from upstairs. I'd have to go downstairs if I wanted to see. But before I could even move, crash, a loud, shattering sound came from below me. I knew instantly. A window. I ran downstairs to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and reached for my phone to call 911. I turned toward the back of the house. Glass from the backyard window was spilled onto the floor, and sitting there on the wood floor, a single brick. Someone had thrown it through the window. My heart was pounding. I was afraid I'd turn and see someone hiding in the corner of the room, but to my relief, there was no one there. I quickly called 911 and told them to get officers here ASAP before the police arrived. I peeked through the now broken window into my yard. I turned on the back deck light. Whoever did this had already run for it. At least, they didn't come into the house. When the officers arrived, I showed them the window and the brick. I told them, without a doubt, Tit was the guy across the canal. He's been eyeballing me since the moment I moved in. They asked if he had any reason to have an issue with me. I said, no chance in hell. I don't even know the guy. I begged them to go over and arrest him. They said they'd go knock on the door. The other police car showed up, and the first 2 officers drove over to the house across the canal. 20 minutes later, they came back, and their answer: nobody lived there. A neighbor had told the police the house had been foreclosed on months ago, and the old tenant was evicted a while ago. I don't know much about foreclosures, so I asked if maybe it was someone from the bank that foreclosed on the house. They said, our guess is as good as yours. They recommended I install cameras in case the harassment continued. One of their cars stayed parked outside my house to make me feel safer, I guess. The next morning, I woke up early and went over to that house. Tried the front door. Locked. Then I tried the back door. It was unlocked. I quietly opened the door and took 2 steps inside. The house was dark, creepy, empty. Then I heard something from upstairs. I noped out of there and ran straight back to my house. The police car was still outside. That day, I got my window fixed and installed doorbell cameras in the front and back of my house. Plus, I haven't seen that man in the house again.